All right, I am here. My name is Renegade Operative. Welcome everyone. And this is my off-the-cuff review for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the video game. This was given to me as a code from Gun Media, and I'm once again infinitely grateful for the opportunity to be able to review your game and give my honest opinion on what's transpiring with the game itself, how I feel about it, etc. Thank you so much for providing the code. Once again, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is sort of like this online horror gaming multiplayer. You've seen them time and time before. I would compare this to something like a mixture of a little bit of DBD, killer versus survivor, and then you have the Friday the 13th elements of just wandering around the landscape and hiding and using all these various tools to try to get out of the area as fast as possible, while it seems a lot more frantic and it's a lot more faster paced, I want to say. Obviously you have the iconic Leatherface. Let's talk about the family side first, because of course you're playing with 3 killers and 4 survivors. The family scouts around the area, and then there's like this grandfather. The grandfather, you have to give him blood from either cutting up your enemies or finding them in blood bags around the area. Once you activate the grandfather, he's like a sonar. He will discover survivors in the area the more you constantly feed them. They have to stay perfectly still, otherwise they're gonna get detected by sonar. Your job as Leatherface or any of the other family members, like the cook, the hitchhiker, some of these are characters from the iconic movie, as well as Sissy, who seems to be a relatively new character, and Johnny as well. They all have differing attributes. Obviously with Leatherface, you can go around with the chainsaw and you can rev it up and run really quickly and get those one-hit kills and disembowel your enemies. You could also play as the cook, who happens to put locks around the area, so he must secure the area and people can lockpick his locks, and he can sort of have a listen mode and listen around and see if there's anyone scuffling around the area doing dastardly things and trying to find those survivors and kill them. Hitchhiker, he puts traps on the ground. If someone gets stuck, they have an opportunity to get killed and beaten to death, because once again they're stuck in a trap, and that's like no bueno for a survivor player. There's a lot going on. Sissy, she poisons people. You could keep poisoning people and have them in poison and fish them out of areas if they happen to be hiding in a particular area or in a spot where it's very hard to get them out of and the other person is chasing them. She could poison them. There's a lot of death and varied nature to the family side as well as the survivor side, and it's all like a culmination of fun when you really get into it. There is obviously frustrations on both ends as well, because clearly we're going to talk about that at the end of the review, but so far the basic construct of the gameplay and going around and trying to get these survivors killed and having those like fun death animations and going about and trying to seek them out and trying to be a team player is really the core and the essence of what the game is about, while you communicate to the other team, or where's that guy, or where is he, oh he's making noise. There's like noise that the survivors can make while they're fiddling around with doors and trying to get out and trying to escape from the base. Leatherface is like, he's down in the basement as well when the game starts, so you can just sort of like try to run up on people and get quick kills if you're lucky, which is really freaking cool. And I also just love the dynamic nature of communicating and trying to get these people like killed as soon as possible. Like Bubba can like pick someone off the ground and put them on a hook and then slaughter them. It's the most fun thing in the world. On the flip side, you have survivors, and the gameplay is once again to survive being killed from family members. You're either going around and getting bone shivs that could cut down things that will make noise. So there's like these bones in the area that's like all strung up on the ceiling. You can cut those down and not walk into them and make noise where family members can hear you. You can also get lockpicks. Lockpicks are also vital for you to escape areas like the basement or areas that are near like certain gates, and you gotta cut off the battery and then unlock the gate and escape. And there's various escape points around places within the map. There's the slaughterhouse, there's the family house, the gas station, with all differing points of escape and evasion, and also certain points of searching and attacking and destroying between family to survivor. Then there's like special skills and abilities and perks. Namely, with the survivors, you could also either do like a last stand where you can increase your health and not take as much hits, or if you're playing as Leland, he can shoulder check the enemies, shoulder check the family members, knock them down, and you will get a brief moment of reprieve from those enemies attacking you and trying to, you know, kill you. It's a very distinctive amount of cat and mouse when you're playing Texas Chainsaw, and that's what makes it fun and hectic and enjoyable. You can hide in these like freezers and people either will see you or not. They could pull you out. You have to really be dependent on the survival horror skills that are presented to you, so your lockpicks will break if you decide to mash the button super fast. You got to be conscious of the noise you're making and what you're doing in order to survive. This game, just generally speaking, is fun. It's a very just straight to the point survivor versus family gameplay, but it's just all fun and enjoyable. And what Gun Media did, they managed to just make this culminate into one bloody affair, and it's something to really appreciate. It doesn't feel like they're doing a bad job here at all. They're doing a great job, and the post-game updates with them patching and listening to people and saying, hey, these are the exploits that people are exploiting. We're going to put our all into saying, here, you have some weekly updates. While they did slow down on the updates, you have weekly updates. We're going to keep patching the game. We know about areas like Slaughterhouse and how some of the sort of fuse areas are placed, and we know about this, and we're going to try to fix this as soon as possible, because there was the method of quick escapes during launch and misplaced valve exits, and that was a bit annoying in my opinion. That was really annoying. But they are fundamentally patching the game. And I talked about asymmetrical horror on this channel with the last video, and that was Evil Dead. I said Evil Dead decided to not adhere and listen to that feedback, and it was very disappointing amongst the community because they wanted proper balancing. This game, while they did turn off the crossplay and they decided to turn it back on, they are indeed taking those updates and taking them and not dashing them away, and that's one thing that I appreciate Gun Media doing. PC crossplay is back. There still is problems with this game though when you're playing it. I feel like one main concern is there's still like exploit spots, so you will see people dive into cars and hide in certain places and you can't get them. So you need a sissy in order to spray her toxic gas, otherwise you're fucked. You're not gonna get that person until they actually run out and try to get to the exit. There's also glitches in Texas Chainsaw that I have seen well after the patches. I've seen people just cheat and manage to be able to tank hits. I've seen people exploit. I still see things that they're trying to work on and flesh out, but they are still problems. There are also people who, you know, they just break the game, where some people will rage quit and the game will brick and you can't go up to an item or press anything, and then the match is pretty much over until the entire server just decides to throw itself out the window. And I've seen that problem still occur to this point in time, and I always thought it was weird and confusing how they're handling this, or what they're doing, or why can't I pick up a certain prompt, the game's not working, everything's just completely blown from there. Outside of those lingering issues, I had a blast with this. I really did. But my main concern is obviously some of the glitches that still sort of linger around, how they're going to implement some of the new roadmap characters, because obviously we're getting the lady with the hammer. I saw her, like, she has a white dress, and we're getting her. And how are they going to handle the new mechanics of those characters, new survivors maybe? and that remains to be decided. And I hope that gun media takes everything into advisement, because one of the main worries that I legitimately see people having with this game is not only some of the lingering glitches, but how are they going to survive in the long run? Because like I said, Evil Dead was a victim to not listening to feedback, and that longevity suffered the price. And there is like things like some weird janky animations at times where I wind up and I swing and I hit someone and I clearly hit them, but obviously something went wrong with the servers, something glitched out, something lagged out. I don't know what happened, but there is some moments of jank hit detection within this game that I found to be quite funny and hilarious at the same time. I remember me and my partner were absolutely demolishing someone. We were hitting them at the same time. They were dead, but they still managed to get into a struggle animation with one of us, and it was just a complete catastrophe, right? I'm all for fun jank, but I feel like when it starts to really bleed into some of the meta of the matches, then it starts to become a little bit disappointing. So I figure that's something they need to fix, tighten up a little bit. Like, you can't obviously change the entire scope of the animations, that's like impossible, but you could at least try to get some of those glitches and bugs and problems and stuff with people crashing and destroying the whole gameplay premise, and you're just standing there not being able to open a door as a sad Leatherface, and that's a little bit disappointing. This might be a small bonus point with the graphics and how it looks. I mean, it's something that's not going to blow you away, and I guess I can include controls here as well, because why not? But I did find the controls to be decent to pick up and play. It's not a really convoluted control scheme to get into. Of course, the only thing I had issues with is figuring out, oh man, the survivors can have an additional sprint to them. Even though sprint is mapped to the L1 button, you can also press X and just dash out of there. That's something I had to really discover from people coaching me on the game. But the graphics are not really that bad. Definitely something that's not gonna blow you away or anything like that, or it's not like super superior graphical eye candy, like something that clearly a Naughty Dog would do, or things of that nature. It's just passable. It feels like a game that was definitely made and created and cross-played from the PS4 to other generation consoles, but the performance really feels well, and I never really had an issue with like lag or anything like that in terms of like the frame rate. That felt really good. Maybe laggy characters, maybe glitchy characters, maybe weird stuff going on with the overall network connectivity, but nothing out of the ordinary for the frame rate. I played this on PS5 and it felt enjoyable, honestly. So the graphics aren't really that super superior, it's just serviceable at best, but I will say the aesthetic of Texas Chainsaw really does capture the movies. It does, from how Leatherface looks to the cook, and you see the armadillo on the road, just the sort of dirty environments. You see the sort of velvet red butcher place where they go in the back of the kitchen, and you see the kids all cut up from there from the first film. I thought that was cool. You see the bull heads on the wall. You go upstairs and you start to see like Leatherface has the entire bedrooms and the entire lower floors decked with human remains, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting, and I love it. They did a really great job with capturing that atmosphere of going around the house and seeing just more of that environment, more of that gory, creepy, mystifying environment that Texas Chainsaw was known for the more you delved into the estate. And the only other thing I think I really don't like is that they need to get rid of this. When Grandpa flashes up when someone makes a noise downstairs, everyone momentarily stops. And it's just like, I was in the middle of something. What the heck is going on? They need to make like a shot clock of him and webcam formats of that video taking place when the noise is made and everyone can get out of the basement, but it's not impeding the gameplay. Also, some of the text is like huge when someone dies over the screen, and it's just like maybe that could be minimized or a little bit of accessibility there. I don't know, but those are some of the other things they could fix within the game. But honestly, that aside, there is nothing else to any of the modes in this game, unfortunately. You just have family matches and survivor matches. That's it. It's not really a lot of variance there. It's not like you can select a certain number of killers. There is private match, and that's it. So it does, if you're not really into the flow and meta of the game and upgrading your perks and getting your characters to max, because that's going to be the meat and potatoes of getting your characters leveled up, learning, experiencing, and switching between both sides. If that's not enough for you and you crave a little bit more, you might be slightly disappointed with some of the variety they have with some of the replay value. There's not even a single player mode here. It's straight up online, knife on survivor flesh action, which is fun, but you might require a little bit more. So hopefully when it comes to that future roadmap, they give you additional modes maybe, or just play around a little bit, or those additional characters, additional maps, and that's down the pipeline. They are working on it indeed, and I do commend them for doing such a great job, and the core gameplay itself is fun. The developers, they said themselves, we're gonna focus on the fun first, which is the most important part, and they nailed that aspect between family and survivor. I would quite honestly say this game does get addicting after a while. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, to keep coming back to those matches and say, hey, this is how I can escape, or maybe I can assist my team that way and find them an exit, or maybe I can go in with Leatherface, powerhouse, kill everybody. It's the grandest feeling in the world to get an ace in this game as well. I'm telling you, it has very, very good potential. It is a readily fun experience. But how long will the experience last? And that question is on the developers. It's on the nature of how the replay value will be coordinated going forward. But as I said, if you're someone who is looking for more modes and a little bit more, this might not be for you. If you are someone who is looking for something that is at its core really fun and has time to develop, then I would say give this game a shot. Right now, it is on Xbox Game Pass. If you want to try it out, if you're a Game Pass fan, I would say try it out there. And then if you really like it, I will say consider supporting the developers and seeing how it goes from there. This is really good for horror fans, because I think this is a nice asymmetrical alternative. And like I said, the perks itself as well are really fun. They're going back and they're nerfing some things and changing some things, because I remember some of the stun locking that was done by Leland would last forever, and I'm like, oh man, look, I just spawned in the match as Leatherface. Leland just completely shoulder checked the entire shit out of me like a linebacker. I can't even move. What's going on, right? They even fixed that, so it's really good they're listening to that feedback, and you can upgrade your characters as you go. You can get stalling resistance on your chainsaw and keep whacking people with it, and it's just so fun. There is micros in this game, and there's microtransactions, and now it's similar to Friday the 13th in that regard. There is micros where you can buy kills, you can buy outfits, and you can also buy skins. What do I think on that? Where do I begin? I personally don't have an issue with post-launch content, because that's gonna keep the game afloat. I do remember the complaints of the new Leatherface skin that was like $15. Personally, I wouldn't get something like that, but more power to the people that are heavily invested into the game to get those skins. I might get some survivor skins. It's not really the worst thing in the world. You do get some in-game color palettes. The more you play matches, you do get different costumes for Leatherface, but one of the complaints was wear skins for the other survivors as well. And they're bringing those in the game, and they're also bringing skins for the family members as well, which is also pretty good because there's a few, like there's some weird fedora hat thing that the cook has from the movie. It's reminiscent to one of the movie's later sequels, but I thought it was pretty cool for some of the stuff they did have in game. You have old lady Leatherface, and you know, he's wearing the weird sort of grandma face that he peeled off, and then he has a suit. So the stuff they have in game is like not really massive, but they are indeed having that sort of transaction there for the players in case they're more heavily invested. And like I said, there's certain skins that I think is a little bit overpriced in my opinion. Then there's others where it's like, okay, cool, fine, I'll probably grab that Sunny set or that Leland set, no problem. They also charge for executions, and I mean, I felt the same way about it as I did for Last of Us. Considering this is a game where I want to kill the person quickly and move on quickly, I'm going to get the fastest execution possible. There's another gripe that I have about executions in this game, and I feel like there could be a little more gore. Like, it's just a small nitpick. The kills are graphic. I'm talking Leatherface shoving a chainsaw down someone's forehead. It is one of the most intense games that I play for some of those asymmetrical kills, but I probably wanted to see a little bit more disembowelment and heads rolling. And it's funny that heads kind of roll and glitches when you kill someone and they fall over, so some of that is funny spectacle. But I just wish there was a little bit more gore to the mix, because it's like Texas Chainsaw, and even Friday the 13th had like beheadings and arms getting cut off, and Jason could like do a Mississippi ass stomp to people. It was very fun. It was very enjoyable to do kills in that game, and I feel like it could have been done a little bit better here. Just something to consider for the future since they're still updating this. Overall though, I would say Texas Chainsaw is a swell and fun time. Maybe if you're looking for something a little bit more out of the game for replay value, I can't recommend it to those people that are like, oh, I need single player, I need multiplayer, I need 6 or 7 or 8 modes and all that stuff. It's getting there in terms of multiplayer updates, but for now, if you want something really fun and quick to jump into, something that, you know, you learn as you go and it's really balanced and fun and enjoyable, I would say Texas Chainsaw will be right up your alley, because they have something for people who like killers or mains or survivors. They have something for you there. And there is concerns though to be had, like what is the longevity of the game? Will we be coming back here and having another discussion just like Evil Dead? I hope the developers do really adhere and keep fine-tuning and make this longevity the best experience they possibly can, because they do have something fun on their hands, and I really did enjoy it. And I will give the Texas Chainsaw game a 7.8 out of 10. I think it's that fun, I think it's that enjoyable, but it could use a little bit more. And obviously there is some glitches that kind of get annoying the more you play along, but once you get this game with friends and you have a good ass time, I would say it's worth it. Test it out on Game Pass, see if you like it. I am Renegade Operative. I am signing off. This is my review of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. Once again, a code provided by Gun Media. I can't thank you guys enough. This is my first game that I reviewed that I got. Well, no, I think it's my second. This is my second game I got as a review, because I think I reviewed Chroma Gun and put that on the channel. But I'm still eternally grateful for the opportunity, and I think I covered like most of the basic areas of what you need to know and going in and what to expect from usual asymmetrical horror flares. I had a lot of fun with this time and this game as well, and I think you might have a lot of fun with it too. Just once again, there is issues, but I think over time we're going to see how the longevity formulates and go from there. So thank you once again for tuning into this review. I will see you guys next time. Later, and thank you so much Gun Media for giving me the chance to review this bad boy. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.